Hello, I'm Gordon Marsden and I'm the local Member of Parliament here, and I'm in the middle of Blackpool Central Library because we're just about to have a very exciting event, which is the launch of some photography and some wonderful poetry and other work that's been done by young people. It's being done by Street Life in conjunction with the Central Library and with lottery funding. It's a great opportunity for young people in Blackpool to express themselves through the medium of poetry and supported by photography. And I'm just going to go over here and show you the actual publication. Yes? They say that a good salesman should always display the product, so I'm showing you the product, and this very, very exciting collaboration of images and poetry which has been produced for this exhibition. It's a really good example of the sort of things that we're now doing a lot of in Blackpool to energise and support young people and to promote Blackpool as a creative and as a strong visual place. And it's part of my job as a Member of Parliament to go around and support the initiatives here, and we have a lot of initiatives being supported by local businesses, by the council, and of course by lottery funding. It is a difficult time for young people, and it's really exciting to come to something like today, which is innovative, which is fresh, and which is part of what I see a lot of the time in my work as an MP dealing with young people in the town.
Hi, Councillor Simon Blackburn, Leader of Blackpool Council, here at the Hidden Exhibition at Central Library. This is one of a number of arts and creative projects that the Council's delighted to support. Wonderful work from the young people here, all aged sort of 16 to 24, vast amounts of creativity, vast amounts of talent, fantastic to see. We look forward to seeing a lot more of it over the coming months and years.
Well, good morning, my name's Alan Matthews, I'm Deputy Mayor of Blackpool, and I'm here this morning to have a look at the wonderful exhibition of Hidden and listen to the poetry of our young people. I've really looked forward to this. I've booked it a number of weeks ago. Unfortunately, they asked me to come along as Deputy Mayor this morning, so I'm enjoying it. I'm going to enjoy it and really.
I'm looking forward to it also, and listening to the young people's stories.
Thank you.
It's lovely to see so many people, and I hope you're enjoying the refreshments. What we're going to do now is Gordon is going to open up the event and say a few words, followed by Councillor Simon Blackburn. And then we've got the artists who are going to tell you a little bit about the process of the project, and some young people are going to tell you about their experiences. So I'll hand over to Gordon now. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jane, and it's a real joy and delight to be here today on, well, certainly several different fronts. First of all, to be in this wonderful room here, and really this is symptomatic of the way in which Blackpool Central Library has, I won't say come back to life, because that makes it sound like something from a vampire movie, but Blackpool Central Library has had an amazing renaissance over the last couple of years, and everything that has been done in terms of opening up the space has been complemented by opening it up as a venue for people, and particularly, therefore, it's appropriate to have the opening of this exhibition and this initiative which has been put together. As the details tell us here, this comes very much on the back of the very successful exhibition of photography in Blackpool that I was privileged to see, and many people I know here were last year. And to me, it showcases two things. First of all, it showcases the councils and the various organisations' commitment to the visual arts. And photography is a visual art, and don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise, because it is a visual art, and the visuals that you see today underline that. So it's about that, but it's also about the regeneration of Blackpool and its people, because sometimes we go on about the iconic this, and iconic that, and iconic the other, and of course those are all great, but what matters as much is opening up people's opportunities, opening up people's own sensibilities and sensitivity. And that's what this exhibition and all the work that's gone into it has done. And I'm delighted that Street Life is at the centre of that. Street Life is probably the organisation in Blackpool I have been longest associated with, almost as soon as I was originally selected as a parliamentary candidate more years ago than I care to mention on this occasion. Street Life and indeed the shelter got me involved in highlighting the issues in terms of blight and homelessness with one of the coldest sleep outs I can ever remember. Not that I've done a huge number of them. And ever since that time, in everything Jane and you and your colleagues have done, you have reached out to young people in Blackpool and young people who find themselves in Blackpool. And you have done fantastic things, not just in giving them structural support, literally, roof over their heads, but also sort of personal, psychological and creative support. And this is the latest fruit of that. And of course, without the lottery funding, without the work the council's put together, it wouldn't have been possible. And of course, without the work of the young people, it wouldn't have been possible. And that's what I think is really important, that in everything that we do, that we think about renewing creativity in people, not just creativity in buildings and structures. And it's great that it's been done through the medium of visuals and poetry. Poetry, music, art, photography, they are all media in which we can express, if we are fortunate enough and if the muse hits us, some of the greatest and most profound things that inspire us and that affect us. Politicians, of course, don't always get the opportunity to talk about those creative things. There's a famous American politician who once said that you campaign in poetry and you govern in prose. And I can tell you, having come from a very detailed couple of committees in Parliament yesterday, the prose was certainly to the forefront and not always the poetry. But poetry is a crucial way of people loosening up and expressing themselves. It's great that we've had involved here people from the Wordsworth Centre and Helen Mort and Henry Idden, who's been, I know, involved with the project. And there's nothing about poetry for young people that has to be done in a particular way. Poetry is about expressing your own innermost feelings, getting those across, observational, happy, sad, whatever. But at its best, poetry brings out that sense of other values than the temporary, other importances than just structures, and other legacies than just the sort of words that politicians or bureaucrats or even town hall administrators use from time to time. Just before I opened the exhibition, I think I referred to Wordsworth, and it reminded me coming here today of his famous intimation of immortality, which I won't say set off the romantic movement because people were dashing me over the head on Coleridge and various other people. But it is worth just remembering the last words of the Intimations of Immortality, where Wordsworth says, "To me the meanest flower that blows can give thoughts that do often lie too deep for tears." And I think as you look at this exhibition today, and you look at the words that the young people have put into that exhibition, that if Wordsworth were here today, he would say that that was a good echo of what he wrote all those years ago. So I'm delighted to be here today, Jane. I'm delighted to see so many people here from across Blackpool, but most importantly of all, the young people who you support and who have helped create today. And I don't see a ribbon or anything, but I'll just say I'm delighted to open the exhibition.
Thank you very much for that, Gordon. I'd now like to introduce Councillor Simon Blackburn to say a few words.
Thanks, Jay. Dashing out of the office this morning, my PA said, "Have you got your speech, Councillor Blackburn?" I said, "No, because I've not written one." And she said, "Oh, you do know that you're on after Mr. Marsden, don't you?" I said, "Bloody hell." Because that just demolishes any opportunity to just kind of wing it and go with the flow, because Gordon invariably and very frustratingly always speaks very well, always name checks all of the people I was going to name check, always quotes the romantic poets, which those of you that know me know I do all the time. So, and invariably at events like this, you know, it's not me or Gordon that you've come to see or hear from. It's the work of the young people that we're here to see. I would just make two reflections. Firstly, that Gordon spoke about campaigning in poetry and governing in prose, and an awful lot of our job is the dull, boring detail of stuff. Stuff that, quite frankly, when you get home at night, you sit with your partner or your friends and you think, I actually couldn't tell you what I've been doing today because it's so dire, it will just be another 20 minutes of your life that you'll never have again. And I'm quite sure you're not remotely interested. But we've had, and Gordon and I, over the past month or so, we've had a series of lousy jobs to do. Here in Blackpool, we've passed a budget at the end of February, which stripped out sort of more than £10 million from services to people in the town, and that's certainly not what I came into politics to do. We've also had a long and unfortunate series of hospital and hospice visits as a number of our colleagues have been ill and sadly passed away over the past few weeks, and a series of funerals. This, however, is the best bit of our job, because we actually get to see the outcome of all of the prose, the outcome of all of the plans and all of the strategies, and it's just absolutely fantastic. And my second point would be, it should remind us that Blackpool has been the victim of a series of mono-industries, if you will. Tourism was the dominant force in the Blackpool economy for many, many years. And then, fairly quickly, that was eroded and we started to struggle. The public sector then stepped into that breach. Vast numbers of people employed by the DWP, employed by the council, employed by the hospital. That now, sadly, is starting to crumble. And as we look for future economic drivers, and we look as to where the jobs are going to come for our young people, for our children and grandchildren, we need to build up a broad base of economic drivers. And a key one of those here in Blackpool is going to be art and creativity. That's something that is very important that people in our roles, we handed an award at full council on Wednesday to two people with learning disabilities who've won a national award for work around making digital media more accessible to people. And these are exactly the sort of things that we need to be encouraging. So, like Gordon, delighted to be here, delighted to see the exhibition. Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
Councillor Blackburn. I'm now going to introduce Andrew from Open Art, who's going to tell you a little bit about the process of the project.
Good morning, everybody. Just before I start, I've got to warn you that I'm not used to public speaking, so if I start stammering and stuttering, somebody come and hook me off, won't you? Standing in front of the TV cameras, I think I should be thanking my manager, my mum, my dad. But I won't do that. All my own work. No, it's not. How did the project start? The project started with an idea. We formulated a project which we wanted young people to explore a different side of Blackpool, Blackpool that tourists don't see, a Blackpool that you see, that everybody sees on TV. We all have an image of Blackpool. I'm not a Blackpool person. And we wanted kids to express that in photography. I think we achieved that. I think the photographs that we've got are fantastic. But that's just the starting point. I think that the finishing point for me is the fact that we've uncovered so much talent and so much passion and so many other things in the young people. Sometimes you come across a project, and I work on lots and lots of different projects all over Northern England, and sometimes you come across a project and what you have to do is you have to go out there and inspire the young people to do this, and you have to inspire other people to do that. Sometimes you come across a project where they inspire you. And I've got to tell you that this project has really inspired me, and I feel really humbled to be stood here talking about it today. Because all I did was go and point to young people's talents. Their talents were there anyway, it's nothing to do with me, I just pointed at them. The young people are amazingly talented, amazingly gifted. They're just like me and you. And I hope the photographs illustrate that. The photographs also illustrate other things. The young people are passionate, the young people are intelligent, they are loving, they are lots of other things. And I think the photographic project is about showing that side of Blackpool that we don't always see. We all know Blackpool is a touristy place, and people come here for the day trips, they come and see the lights, but what about all the other stuff that goes on? Blackpool is just not one thing. I'd just like to finish and say I was also inspired by the staff. The staff at Street Life are amazing people. Lots of them here today, Claudia and Tony and everybody else. If I've missed anybody, sorry. But the one person that's inspired me the most is Jane Hugo. I think she's fantastic and I think you should treasure her. Thank you.
Person and photographer, and he was working on the project with young people as well.
Thanks, Jane. I can't really, it's very difficult to add to what everybody else has said, Gordon, Councillor, Blackburn and Andrew. I think the key thing is to understand that all the work you see is that of the young people, basically. Myself and Andrew on Open Art just facilitated the opportunity for them to show us what they were about. And as Andrew says, it was, from our point of view, it was actually very easy to encourage them to produce the work, because they just ran with it themselves. They connected with the idea and they ran with it themselves. And what gives me personally great pleasure is to see how it's all come together with the windbreaks, the publication and the postcard. And I'd just like to echo Andrew's words, thanking Jerry and the staff at Street Life, Deborah at Open Art, but also the Words of Trust as well. Helen Mort, poet, came down. I've worked with them in the past. Unfortunately, this weekend and today there's a major poetry event in St Andrews in Scotland called Stanza. So Helen and Andrew Forster, the Arts Officer from the Words of Trust, are up at that. I did take up some of the publications of the Words of Trust last week. So I'd like to think that the aficionados of the UK poetry scene will be sat having a cappuccino reading publication as we speak. And I'd also like to say a big thank to Mark Lester from Mark's Studio in Manchester, who designed the publication as well. So, like I say, it's all down to the young people.
Thanks, Henry. Now I'm going to introduce Russell, who is one of the young people that was involved in the project. Let's come up. And Russell's just going to tell you about how the experience was for him.
Yeah, I had a really fun time taking the photographs. Really enjoyed it, taking the part. Yeah, it was just good to sort of be able to go around town and take a few photographs and you guys put them on the youngster like this. You've done a really good job. Yeah, the street life have been really good as well. Been great. Helping us. Hope you enjoy the work.
Thanks, Russell. And now Joe is going to come up and read one of his poems out of the newspaper.
Just want to say well done to everybody here for putting this together, and congratulations. A round of applause for everyone. Whose expectation do I see the journey of an endless road? A life lived for those who live around me, their troubles, my burden, my load. I carry willingly on alone. Do you know this road? I know no other.
It's now time to bring the speeches to a close. I think everybody throughout the speeches, we've all thanked each other and given ourselves a big pat on the back. So I just want to thank you all for coming and for supporting the work that we do at Street Life. There are lots and lots of these newspapers hidden that are on your table. If you want to take some away for your colleagues and friends and family, you're very welcome. There's lots of them by the door. Just to feel free to stay and have another drink, have a mingle, have a chat to the people here. And I'd just like to say it's been a pleasure having this today, celebrating the work, and to reiterate what Andrew said, it's all really down to the young people and their talents. So thank you very much.
I'm Elaine Smith, I'm Chairman of Blackpool Civic Trust. Obviously we look after the town, we look after listed buildings and the conservation areas, but more than that we're interested in anything that lifts up Blackpool, that adds to the heritage, adds to the culture of the town. And this is an absolutely fantastic thing that we've done. I'm so thrilled with it, and particularly that Street Life got involved, because we've got to keep the youngsters involved in these things and anything that helps them. That young man's just read a poem. I found it very, very moving because that depicts their life. So I'm very pleased to be here.